I want to do two things in this video. First, announce my new novella that comes out on June 2nd. But second, I want to take some time and talk through what I learned by writing 6 books in about 6 or 7 years. And with each book, I tried to focus on what's my biggest weakness as a writer right now and really hone in on that and try to improve as a writer by the time I finish the book. So starting with my very first book, The Rose Weapon. For this book, all I had done so far was write short stories. And so the goal for this one was pretty simple. Learn how to write a longer story. And it's only about 30,000 words, which is technically a novella, but that was by far the longest thing I'd ever written when I first wrote this book. And so my goal for this one was learn how to tell a long story that's a complete story. And I actually used the hero's journey outline to outline this one to help me. And so I have a video coming up on that soon. But after The Rose Weapon was done, I could see where my big weakness was. And so for the second one, my second book called The Mystery at Pancake Shores, I really wanted to focus in on that. And that was dialogue. For The Rose Weapon, there's really only like 2 people on screen at a time because I just didn't know how to balance dialogue between characters. And so I kept it very simple. But for The Mystery at Pancake Shores, I really wanted to focus on the dialogue and improve my dialogue. So there's 4 or 5 characters on screen at a time in this one, and they're constantly traveling around this beach in the 50s, and they're having conversations and talking. And so I wanted to make sure that I could really get a handle on dialogue a little bit. I'm not perfect at it. I still have work to do, obviously, but writing this book and focusing on dialogue really helped me improve my dialogue. Which leads me to my third book, which is actually the sequel to The Rose Weapon. It's called When Embers End. And for this book, the learning goal was, how do you write a sequel? You already have a world, you already have characters that people know and hopefully love. So how do you write a sequel in that world that can live up or even be better than the first one? And I talked to my friend and fellow author, Luke Condor, and he said, what you want to do for a sequel, one of the things you can do is look at the biggest weakness of your main character in the first one and really try to dive deep into that in the second one. And so that's what I did. My main character in the first one, very naive. He's a kid, very naive. And so we really went into this one focusing on that and trying to drill down and help the main character grow through that for the sequel. So, and then obviously you have a lot of fun things that you can pay off from the first one, which is a lot of fun too. My fourth book was completely different than the other ones. It's called I'm Going Now, and my grandpa years ago asked me to write a Western or a frontier story, and I said, well, I usually write about dragons and sea people and stuff, but then he got diagnosed with cancer, and I said, let's do it. And so the learning goal for this one was, how do I write a book in a genre that I'm not used to? And it was a good exercise for me to look at, what are the genre expectations here? What are the tropes? And it really helped me expand my writing by learning to write in these different genres. And also, since I was writing it for one person specifically, I was able to put in a lot of Easter eggs that only our family would recognize. And I've continued to do that throughout my books after that too, which is a lot of fun. So that was a very unique learning experience. And then that led to my first full-length novel, Sparrow in the Stream. What I learned by writing Sparrow in the Stream is just how to write a full-length novel. All my other books are short, technically novellas. This one, 60, 70,000 words. That was completely new for me. And so what I learned was, I'm an outliner. I outline a lot, very detailed outlines. And writing Sparrow in the Stream helped me realize, okay, I have an outline that's about this long, so it's going to end up being 20,000 words, or it's going to end up being 40,000 words, or I need to keep adding to this story because 1, the story is not done, but 2, I want it to be a full-length novel. And so this is how long the outline needs to be in order to get there, which is just my own writing style and learning my own writing style and how I write and how each outline point turns into how many words. And so I was able to learn this is how long an outline needs to be in order for it to be a full-length novel. So that was a lot of fun too. Which brings us to the new release, Rosalie and the Everlasting Man. This book has been in the works for a while. I've had the idea before I even wrote any of these books. I've had this idea for a while. And it's about a man who in the 30s is discovered in a glass box during construction in Chicago under the ground, and he's been cursed to live there for the rest of his life. And he's alive in a glass box, and immediately the person who owns the land makes it a circus, a sideshow, somewhere some people can come and see the everlasting man. And what's unique about this book is it's written in epistolary form. It's written in the form of journal entries starting from an 8-year-old girl who witnesses the big news, the breaking news that they found an everlasting man that's alive. And it traces her experiences with the man and trying to free him from just being a sideshow attraction. And so it starts when she's 8 all the way through her life. And so the uniqueness of this was, how do I write as an 8-year-old? How do I write as an 18-year-old, as a 30-year-old who now has a college degree, as a 60-year-old looking back on her life? How do I change the writing style so it fits those ages, but also feels like the same character and keeps the story going? Most of our journal entries are boring, to say it kindly. And so that was a unique goal, to tell this story, keep the pace moving, keep the plot moving, even have a couple cliffhangers, but make it feel real, like a real journal. And so this book is out now. It's at a lower price right now for the early release, and it'll go back to its regular price on June 1st. So if you want to check it out, it's on Amazon. I would appreciate it. Let me know what you think. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Whether you're writing your first book or your 10th book, focus on what is my biggest weakness as a writer, and how can I use writing this next book or story as an exercise to improve my craft. So I hope you're able to do that. I hope you're able to continue to grow as a writer as you write each book. So happy writing.